Ladies and gentlemen, and now it's my pleasure to welcome our next keynote speaker, Monsieur Périllat. You are shaping with Valeo the transformation towards e-mobility and autonomous driving. I learned yesterday that every car in this exhibition has almost one part of Valeo inside, so it's really impressive. And the numbers stands for its own. You made 20 billion euros last year in sales. You have 100,000 employees worldwide in 29 countries. And Monsieur Périllat, it's your stage. Join me on stage. A warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you. Carlos Tavares said it very clearly. This transformation is, on the one hand, absolutely necessary, and on the other hand, it's going to be extremely difficult and extremely painful, technically, industrially, and socially, and we have not seen anything of that yet. At Valeo, we have prepared ourselves. This is what I'm going to talk about it. We have prepared ourselves, and as you know, this transformation is now beginning. It's now beginning, and we see the electric cars market growing. It's already 8 million cars in 2022. It means 10% of the market. And this is now about to grow exponentially. And this transformation is only accelerating every day, every single day. As a key player in electric mobility, we know it, we see it, we see ourselves growing. It has grown 32% last year, just electrified powertrain. And we see it in our orders as well. 2/3 of the orders of Valeo for thermal and for powertrain activities, 2/3 of these orders are dedicated to high voltage powertrain. So this is happening, and we are prepared. No need probably to remind you why we are doing it. We all know what is at stake with this transformation. We know that we're doing it to fight global warming and save the planet. I don't have grandkids, but hope I will have grandkids soon, and I will be able to tell them we've done the job. We have done the job. We are doing it because the world needs to become decarbonized. We know that. And we know as well that our sector, the automotive sector, has to play a great role. It has to play a great role because road transportation is 18%. Mr. Tavares said 17%. Our number is 18%. 18% of the CO2 emission is linked to road transportation. So we have to move, and we have to move now. And the framework has been defined. It has been clearly defined. Why, by the way, 2035? Why has Europe decided for 2035? You have to come back to the Paris COP21 agreement. You remember, I think it was 2015. At that time, it was said that by 2050, the road transportation must be decarbonized. 2050 is the objective. But if you want the road transportation to be fully decarbonized in 2050, and given the fact that the car has a lifetime of 15 years, then it means that by 2035 you should not sell anymore a car that is emitting CO2. That's the reason for 2035, and that's the way to reconnect the 5 years and the 20 years that was part of the presentation of Carlos Tavares, because it takes 15 years at the end of the day for a car to go through the end of its life. So at Valeo, we firmly believe that electric car is today the most efficient to achieve it. And we're working on it, and we've been preparing ourselves. So we believe that this is, at the end of the day, going to be the mainstream technology. But let's be frank. Again, this transformation is going to be extremely difficult, technically, industrially, and socially. And we are asked to run a race, a long race, at a speed that's unbelievable. And we have to go in this transformation, as we know, as quickly as possible. And it's not just going to be the OEMs and the suppliers. There's a full ecosystem that has to run with the same speed. And beside the OEM, beside the suppliers, this is about the utility companies. This is about the mining companies. They have to produce enough, of this material. This is going to be a collective play. Usually in a race, the winner is the one that comes first. Here, the winner is a collective win. It's about all the players getting on the finish line at the same time. And the last one will be the one that will define whether we are, at the end of the day, successful or not. This is why OEMs are doing the job, suppliers are doing the job, but mining companies, utility companies, cities have to do the job as well. We know this transformation is going to be very difficult as well because it will be extremely Darwinian. That's a word I share with Carlos Tavares. There's going to be two kinds of companies. The ones that are prepared and they will survive and they will be successful, and the ones that are not prepared. And for those, probably it's already too late for a catch-up. So we have to go in this transformation with the eyes open and prepare ourselves as quickly as possible. I will take some time now to share with you why I think the success factors are going to be for the EV cars. So what are these factors? And to me, there are five. Five that as engineers, and Valeo is a tech and industrial company, so we are engineers. We work on 5 items to make the EV cars better. The first is range. The second is charging time. The third is affordability, very important indeed. The fourth one is a kind of diversity of approaches, not one mobility, there's going to be several mobility, and the last one is the environmental impact and the need of circularity. And let me explore each of them. I will start with range, because obviously that's one of the key stake of the EV. And of course, there's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of technical momentum around the battery efficiency, but at Valeo, we're not working on cells. We're not working on batteries. We're cooling them. I will tackle 2 aspects that we are working on when it comes to Valeo. And our engineering community that is, exploring new ways. The first way is I would like to talk about to make cars or powertrain of cars more efficient is, the transformation of current. I mean the inverters. And we're working on, new generation of inverters with silicon carbide. This is going to be the material of tomorrow. Silicon carbide inverters that will allow a 5% increase of efficiency, 5% more efficiency. It means 5% less battery, and battery is much more expensive than the electric or electronic parts of the powertrain. 5% more efficiency, 40% additional power density, 10% lighter, 20% more compact than the previous generation. And it's coming, and it's there, first SOP in 2025. I would like to talk about an aspect of the car that's so important, which is linked to thermal, because obviously we don't want to make any kind of compromise between range and comfort. And we know that heating, we know that defogging. So we know that heating, we know that defogging, we know that cooling in the cabin all consume a lot of energy, and it can significantly reduce the range. If you take, the example of a winter -7 degrees outside, you can lose up to 40% of your range when you heat the cabin, which is totally unacceptable for you as a user, as a driver of the car. Thermal is a subject that is not so often considered, or at least not mentioned enough. So let me spend a little bit of time. At home, you found the solution. The solution is the heat pump. This is the solution for the mainstream heating at home in a decarbonized world. Well, in the car, it's the same. In the car, the smart heat pump is coming, and it will have twice the efficiency that the current heating system has. You can improve your range by 38 kilometers if you add up, other technologies such as, for instance, heating the interior surfaces of the car. At the end of the day, it's 83 kilometers of additional range that you can get on a 400-kilometer car. So thermal is as important as the efficiency of powertrain. And thermal, we need to understand it as a full system. And this is why we are currently conducting research with an Austrian company that's well known, that's AVL, to make or to understand the thermal systems of BE cars as a full system. We want to think of the thermal management as a system, an absolute, a global, an integrated way. That's what it has to be done. Now, besides range, let me tell you a little bit about charging and charging time. That's as well a limiting factor for the adoption of EV, and it's as important. The limiting factor, I believe, is not anymore the chemistry of the cell. It's not. It's the cooling of the battery. It's the cooling of the battery, extracting calories out of the battery. We are today a world leader in battery thermal management, in cooling batteries, and we are developing extremely interesting technologies. We're doing it with Total Energy. It's based on immersive cooling technology. Basically, you take the cells and you put them either under a bath or a shower of dielectric fluid. This is the key for ultra-fast charging and securing the battery aging. And then the charging time is cut in half, and then you can get 80% of your battery recharged within 15 minutes, which is so important for the adoption of EVs. Now let me say a word about affordability. It's extremely important to make EVs affordable. I'm often asked the question, will EV at a point of time be as affordable as an IC? And I'm usually getting back to physics again and explaining, you take a B segment IC car, basically it weighs 1 ton. You take its equivalent BEV, B segment car, it weighs 1.4 tons. 400 kilos more on a BEV versus IC on a B segment. And 400 kilos does not come for free. Therefore, BEV will never be at the cost of IC. I don't see it happening just because there's 400 kilos more on a BEV. Still, we need to develop solutions. Still, we need to make it more affordable. This is the job of a tier one like Valeo, to make things more affordable day after day, month after month, year after year. And this is why we develop as well solutions for each range. The solution might not be only to reduce the cost of a car, but to have different kinds of mobility. We're working on delivering adapted powertrain from 6 kilowatts to 80 kilowatts, all kinds of light mobility. So there's no one fit all. There's a lot of different forms of mobility to drive the urban mobility. So we need and we will need electric technologies to develop and to power e-bikes, e-scooters, e-motorbikes, e-rickshaws, e-delivery droids, all kind of micro-mobility that is an affordable solution for people in the city. And Valéo is part of it. We have our business on automotive for 100 years, but why our technologies would not be successful on some of these adjacent markets that are just close by and are an answer for more affordability of mobility in cities. So we have been deciding to be a key player in this world, and we are targeting 10% of our sales shortly in new mobility. The last factor I would like to comment is about reducing the environmental impact of the car. It's reducing weight. We're working on it. We can use more composite materials. We can use low carbon alternatives. We can reduce the steel. We can reduce the aluminum. We're working on this, organosheets that are such a brilliant material as an alternative to steel and as an alternative to aluminum. So reducing weight is one aspect. But we would like to introduce more. And I would like to talk to you a little bit about circular economy. On the one hand, the mobility will be decarbonized. On the other hand, if these new cars are built with new materials that are coming from, mining, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to work at the end of the day. So we must absolutely ensure that our industry optimize the consumption of resources. In this spirit, I would like to mention a partnership that we have signed with Renault to get rid of rare earths. Rare earth is a problem. It's a problem for price. It's a problem for geopolitical risk. It's a problem that we want to tackle. What if we can produce motors that will be out of rare earths? Together with Renault, we are co-developing and will be shortly producing electric motors that will be rare earth free. 200 kilowatts, 800 volts, electric motor, no rare earths coming. Now again, regarding the circular economy, we would like to make sure that all our engineers in the company are working according to the 4 R's. Let me say what these 4 R's are. Robust design. The parts, we are a tier 1. The part needs to work for the full lifetime of the car. Robust design. Second one is remanufacturing. Be in a position to take an old part and remanufacture it into a new one. Repair. Not throwing away parts, not throwing away electric or electronic boards, but repairing them when one component is failing, and recycling at the end of the lifetime of the car, of the part, being able to recycle all the components of it. This is the new frontier. These 4 R's are the new frontier. At Valeo, we have decided to train each single engineer of Valeo to embed the 4 R's into the initial design. If it's not embedded into the initial design, you have no way of doing repair, remanufacturing, or recycling. It needs to be thought up front. It needs to be put as a constraint in the initial design. Therefore, all the engineers of Valeo are going through a training of ours, and whenever going for new product lines, going for new generation of products, we are checking that we are making progress versus the previous generation on our 4Rs. So we are accelerating, obviously, in it. We are already remanufacturing 1 million parts per year. 1 million parts per year, we are already manufacturing. And we are extending this remanufacturing to electronic parts. Today, taking boards existing, making the diagnosis, identifying the component that's a problem, repairing this component, and putting it back into production. By 2030, we will double this remanufacturing of products from 1 million parts per year to 2 million parts per year, extending the kind of components or parts that can be used. I talked about recyclability. Let me give an example. I think we made in 22 a very strong step forward. Giving on the screen a couple of examples. One is with headlamp with 1% recycled polycarbonate, and another example is on the HVAC, 1% recycled polypropylene. If you would have asked me the question in 2021, is it possible to build it fully with recycled material? My answer then would have been no, it's not possible. There are physical constraints. Well, we lifted these physical constraints, and now we're able to produce these key components of the car fully recycled. It takes as much research to do this as it takes to build a new product. But again, being serious on the 4R, robust design, repair, remanufacturing, recycling is the next frontier beside the decarbonization of the world. Few last words. This year, one important date for Valeo. We're going to be, 100 years. We are a 100-year company. We are born in a garage, in the suburbs of Paris. That was in 1923. We're now a worldwide supplier, operating in 29 countries, working with pretty much all customers in the world. But we are at the beginning of a new time. We are at the beginning of a transformation that will, in 15 years, totally change the industry. This new period has just begun, and there are a lot of OEMs, there's a lot of suppliers, there's a lot of companies in this room. So let us be the ones, together with you, represented in this room, to create this electrified mobility and this decarbonized world that the people are expecting from us. We have a unique opportunity. We have this unique opportunity, and I would say this great responsibility to make it happen, and we will make it happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and insights. Do you like to have your hand, Miko? That's better. So 2 more questions. You're working on making the EV user-friendly, and you said it's the accessibility, it's a real big key for the success as well. The powertrain you are developing and you are selling, are they more expensive than the usual powertrain and even more expensive than in the EVs?
Well, the powertrain by itself is not more expensive. An ICE car is a complex car, and the engine is expensive. The new engine, the motor, the inverter, the charger, and the reducer, this new powertrain is not expensive. What's expensive is the battery, right? What makes the BEV expensive, what makes the BEV weighting more than an ICE car is the battery. So when we work on the efficiency of the powertrain, then the trade-off is very easy to make. If you improve your powertrain efficiency, electric powertrain efficiency by 5%, you add 5% to a small cost. But if you reduce then by 5% the cost of the battery, that's the high cost, then the trade-off
is favorable. So that's why the silicon carbide is coming very fast in the industry, because the trade-off cost of the powertrain, cost of the battery is very much favorable to put more silicon carbide per car.
That sounds good, because the range is one of the big issues for the car buyer to
Well,
not buy.
You can either extend the range or at same cost, or reduce, the cost at either range.
That sounds good. Coming to the next topic, you were saying that the transformation is like not one is winning, so we need to have a team, and we win the transformation as a team. Do you think like we need more cooperations in the automotive industry to deal with this transformation, with this big task?
Well, for sure, there's a need of cooperation. As I said, we're not going to make this transformation happen by ourselves. Even not by ourselves, OEM plus suppliers. There's a full ecosystem. The mining companies have to be there when we need them. The utility companies will have to be there with green energy. The cities will have to do, and the countries will have to do the job to put charging stations everywhere. So for sure, it's a change of world. It's a huge transformation. OEMs have to be ready. They will be, as it was said before, suppliers have to be ready, and they will be ready. There's a lot of, when you listen to some people, they oppose from time to time the different actors. OEMs and suppliers being opposed. I don't think this is going to happen. There's not going to be a kind of two categories, the OEM on the one hand and the suppliers on the other hand. I see it differently. I see a group of OEMs and suppliers that are prepared, that have been prepared themselves, that have made the efforts in terms of cost, in terms of technology, and these ones will take benefit of this transformation and will win the battle and will help the world to become decarbonized. And I see another group of some OEMs, I will not name them, or suppliers, I will not name them, that are unprepared. So it's not, a group or category, OEM against suppliers. It's some OEM and suppliers making it happen, preparing themselves, that are going to be successful, and some others that will have a deep problem. At Valeo, we believe that we have been preparing ourselves. We're working with all the successful OEMs, and we'll be there to celebrate our 200th anniversary in 100 years.
That sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
A big applause.